Hello everyone, my name is Lloyd Teta and I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm the co-founder of African Transformers, and
I'm Chikokonya from Zimbabwe again, and I'm the other founder of African Transformers.
All right, so today we'll be talking about the problem that we are trying to solve. We're talking about our initiative, African Transformers, and the problem that you are trying to solve. And we'll just run through the outline. So the outline is as follows. Who are we? We'll be talking about who is African Transformers, and we're talking about our vision, mission. Then our campaign is Millennium Ocean Winners, and we're talking about our goals. Then we'll go through the problem that we're trying to solve, the effect to the marine bodies, and we'll talk about our work so far and the impact that we've made. Then we'll ask some questions and maybe some feedback. Okay, so I'll start by who are we? African Transformer is a social project aimed at reducing plastics and creating environmental awareness about the need to protect the environment by reusing plastics. So that basically African Transformers, we started this initiative with the aim of reducing plastic waste by using this plastic waste using cheap and readily available materials instead of going to use some big machines. So we also want to create awareness to people so that they grow up aware of their actions that may potentially harm the environment. Okay, so I'll go through about our vision and mission. Our vision is to create an environment where people are aware of their actions that may potentially harm the environment, and to see the world where people perform environmental actions that are essential for a better, safer, and healthier life for both land and marine organisms. That's our vision. So you can see that we're talking about both marine and also land, because I realize that most of the problem that that marine is facing is also as a result of the action that is being done on the land. And also our mission as African Transformers is to reduce plastic waste and improper waste plastic disposal across Accra City and the Gulf of Guinea, ocean shores near Accra. As we believe that the reducing plastic across the city will also reduce the amount of waste because on the ocean shore. As I said, that we believe that this plastic waste, it is, according to some sources, they said 80% of the ocean waste comes from the land. So we can see that we can't just ignore the land also, but we can also take into consideration the land so that we can reduce plastic waste in the ocean. All right, so as Millennium Oceans Awardees of 2019, we have our campaign of saving oceans, saves lives. We came up with this campaign idea because we realized that we people, our lives also depend on the oceans. There are some people who fish, they get income from the seas. So believe that if we save the oceans, we can also save our lives because also depend on the ocean. Okay, so I will leave this to Denver so we can talk about the goals for African Transformers.
Okay, so displayed our refined goals. So we have said that by the end of May, or by mid-May, we should have spread the awareness to at least 400 people across 4 schools in Accra. But then we also decided to work with people which are not students only. We should have collected and sold 800 kgs of plastic waste, that is plastic sachet. Then our project, we have produced 50 bins and more than 250 small products, such as vases and pencil cases, like the ones we've been making in our previous workshops. So with African Transformers, we have partners which we are working with. They help us in our everyday activities and our workshops. So first of all is HSD Lab. That is where we have our faculty advisor, Dr. Gordon Adomja. He helps us with advices as to our next steps, and he also helped us. He also played a part in helping us to acquire the grant from the MCN team. Then there's a water sanitation project which was started by an Ashesi alumni, and it aims in also conserving the environment by recycling plastics again. Then we have Ashesi Leo Club, which is in a campus club which focuses on a wider range of social issues, starting from the cleanup campaigns to feeding street children and helping the old in the society. So they are also part of our partners. And Lloyd will explain to you the problem we are trying to solve, breaking it into steps as to how we view the problem.
Okay, so for us to come up with some of the ideas that we are doing, wanted to identify the problem that we're working on. So the problem was like plastic waste pollution in the ocean. So you can see that here there's some sort of an airplane and the helicopter and an eye. So this one I call it aeroplane view, whereby I'm breaking down the problem, like to find the root issue of the problem. So you can see that the root issue here is from like a helicopter view. There's poor waste management, which also being caused by improper plastic disposal at a bullseye view. So I believe that if we solve improper plastic disposal at bullseye, but also solving poor waste management, then means eventually we solve the plastic waste pollution in the oceans. So that's basically like how we break down our project, the problem that we're tackling, so that we can focus more on the root issue of the problem. So this you can see, then I'll explain about the plastic waste along the Accra beaches.
Okay, so like these pictures, they only highlight the weight or the level of the problem we are facing here. This picture to the left, which is a castle over there or a tower, is a beach in Jamestown here in Ghana, and this one is a portion of the Bola Beach, the one we had a cleanup campaign last month, and that's the state of the beach of these two landmarks. As we can see, a lot of the waste is plastic bottles, and that's a big issue for us. That's a big problem because as soon as the water comes to the shore, like we're guaranteed that half of these bottles or half of all this waste will be swept back into the ocean, which is a very pressing problem for us. And we have some shocking statistics we found here from Conserve Energy Future. It says around 70% of industrial waste is dumped into the water, where they pollute the usable water supply. And 14 billion pounds, 14 billion of pounds, 14 billion pounds of garbage, mostly plastic, is dumped into the ocean every year. Our plastic waste has created a gigantic plastic soup in the ocean of up to 15 million square kilometers, almost the size of Russia. And just imagine how, like, just visualize how big Russia is, and the plastic waste in the ocean can cover the whole of Russia. And aquatic animals have faced an estimated extinction rate 5 times more than that of terrestrial animals. And with these statistics, we can see that the problem of plastic pollution in the ocean is an issue which needs immediate attention, because these are alarming numbers. 14 billion pounds is actually a very big number, and around 70% of industrial waste is dumped into the ocean. And industries are supposed to be our leaders in the economy, and when they propagate this pollution of the water bodies and they take part in this major, they do the major contribution, 70%. And with all these big industries we have in the world, like the issue just keep on growing and growing and growing. And this statistic which says animal aquatic animal have faced an extinction rate of 5 times. It just means by maybe the next 200 years, we have no fish or no marine species, because with this pollution, we disrupt the concept of sustainability. And as far as I understand, sustainability is being able to meet the needs and aspirations of the present without disrupting or like compromising the resources, or the finite resources, which are to be used for the future generations. And with these statistics, it just shows after the 4th or 5th generations which are to come, there will be no significant number of marine species in the ocean. And as leaders, that's a moral issue, because it affects the people who are coming after us. So we should be considerate enough to know how our actions affect the environment and those around us and those after us. And continuing with the statistics, it shows that 80% of trash in the ocean is from land-based sources. 20% is from fishermen and the guys with ships. And the sad part of this is that the guys on the land who do not directly benefit from the ocean are the ones who are doing a major part of the pollution. And those who directly benefit from the ocean, they just do only 20%, which is a moral issue, as I said, because people are not being considered enough to see how their actions are affecting the wellness or the livelihood of other people. And as I said that, okay, there's another alarming statistics here. It is estimated that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean by weight. There will be more plastic than fish. So just imagine, like you go for fishing, and when you pull your nets, you get 60% plastic and 40% weight. And I think there's no one who would want to eat fish from such an environment. And by this 2050, that means the fishing industry will be almost destroyed. And from the research, it shows the world market, it gets 500 billion from the ocean. And if we continue to operate in this way, that means we are destroying another important industry or important sector of our lives. So we should be considerate enough, and we should be conscious of our actions, because this waste we put in the ocean, it takes a very, very long time to decompose. So we'll move on to the causes of our problems. So the most pressing issue is littering and ignorance. Some people, they litter not because they don't care what's going to happen after, but they don't really know what happens if I drop this plastic bottle on the edge of, on the beach or on the shore. So like, the problem is people, they don't have enough information or enough education of how to tackle waste management. So that results in reckless waste management, which is another cause. We also have cheap plastic. Yeah, it's a blessing that we have oil in Ghana, but the problem is plastic is now very, very cheap. If you go to any vendor, you buy plastic chips, which are already in the plastic, they give you an additional plastic. And we as citizens, we are not responsible enough to reject that. Now, I don't need this plastic because the thing is already pegged, but we just take the plastic and like keep accumulating the plastic. We dispose it in the system, and then we have the problem we are facing right now. So people should think about it when you are buying something. Like, do you really need that plastic? Also, sewage disposal is another cause for the ocean pollution, because it's not only plastic which is causing the problems we are facing. Then the effects. Water animals, they get entangled in plastic waste, which is the cause of the extinction, also a cause of the extinction we talked about. It is estimated that around 90% of seabirds are eating plastic waste. And if they eat plastic waste, then there will be, their stomach will get full and they'll starve to death. And just imagine if 90% are eating plastic waste, then that means the extinction rate is even faster than the 5 times we're talking about. Then there's depletion of oxygen content in the water. It affects the marine life again. Move on again to, okay, these are just pictorial representations of our effects, and people should actually be touched by scenes like this. Then Lloyd will take you through some of the work we've done. And
all right, so talk about our work as African Transformers. As you have seen the effect that David just said. So we as African Transformers, we're doing easy and cheaper recycling. The first thing is that most people, they think that recycling is for maybe big companies whereby they have like machines to show maybe the plastic so that they can recycle. But we want to teach people and other people around that they can just recycle plastic with readily available materials. For example, here we can make dustbins, pencil cases, flower vases. So instead of students going to buy maybe flower vases or pencil cases, they can just make one for themselves. So that's what we are doing. We're teaching them so that instead of just throwing plastic waste, they can take that plastic and make something useful from it. So we're teaching students to do basic recycling. And we also believe that these art, especially the bins, they create, they're sort of like an artwork. They also create like awareness, because whenever you see a plastic bin made of plastic bottles along the roadside, believe that that one is a sort of a source of creation, awareness creation, because we can see that plastic waste, we can just make something from it. And I'll go next to other things that we're doing. I'm doing environmental workshop. So we're organizing school workshops where we create awareness and teach students about environmental sustainability. We believe that students, like young people, are the leaders of tomorrow. So we need to grow. We need to grow up aware of our actions, aware of our actions that may potentially harm the environment, our oceans. So we are targeting students because we believe that they are the future of tomorrow. So we're also doing environmental workshop, environmental competition in schools is a way of encouraging students to produce innovative ideas of solving ocean problems. So believe that yes, we have some solution, but you can't do this alone, but with the help of people around us. So if you go to students, we'll give them a challenge and we'll award them based on ways the best or innovative ideas of solving oceans. And we're also doing cleanup campaigns. So we're organizing cleanup campaigns both on the beaches and city cleanup campaigns. As Denver said, that 80% of the plastic waste of plastic or any waste on the ocean is coming from the land. We realize that we can't just do a beach cleanup campaign, but we can also do a city cleanup campaign whereby the plastics where are the source of waste that are going to the oceans. Also, a beach, these cleanup campaigns were seeing it as a way of creating awareness. We are not just going to clean the beach and go away, because people also come back and still litter the beaches. So when we go there for a cleanup campaign, we'll get the opportunity to talk to people around there and teach them about environmental sustainability, about the need to have a clean environment, about the need to protect our oceans. So that's the aim of the cleanup campaign that we are doing. And also we're doing, we are also collecting plastics and sell them to recycling companies. So we're creating some sort of like a combination in the people in the community, so that whenever they see plastic, they can realize that it's money. So buy the plastic from them, then we sell it to the recycling companies. So that's one of the initiatives. Was we believe that instead of people getting rid or just disposing their plastic, they will know that these plastics, I can get something like a token from plastics. So these are some of the measures that we are putting as African Transformers to solve the ocean, the problem that our oceans is facing. And then I can also take up on the impact that we've made so far.
So under impact, we've managed to make some few strides in the small work we've done. The one which I value the most is after the beach cleanup campaign at Bola Beach. Like people who were there, they admired like the result of the cleanup campaign, and as a result, it's a very cheap beach where like you pay only 2 cedis to enter. So it's kind of very difficult to maintain or to manage. So as a result of our cleanup campaign, like the guys who stay there, they were impressed, and they set up a new plan where every Saturday in the morning they do a cleanup of that beach. So the beachgoers will be there, like they try to motivate people so that they can keep the beach as clean as possible. Then another one is students can now, specialized school students can now do creative stuff with the plastics. After we teach them, like they get the motivation and keep the work going. Like if we teach them how to do it themselves, for example, for the Berekoso students, they were actually intrigued by making the pencil cases. So they asked us so that we could help them do like more of the stuff, and they actually made it, and which was quite successful. Then working with the Leo community, we made the Leo club, we made some beans, like 5, and we donated them to the Berekoso community, and which is another great step for us. And the Berekoso people are really appreciated it. And these 2 pictures, so in the beginning of the slide, I showed you a picture of how dated the beach was, and this was after the cleanup. And people like they appreciated this, and every Saturday they are now making they are now doing a cleanup in the morning. And to the left, there are students from Berekoso. They are holding their own pencil cases which they made on their own, and now they can use it for themselves, and like they can also do it in their spare time. So we have a call to action for everyone who is involved. Like a big step every citizen can do is to minimize the pollution and contamination at every possible level, because we can't tackle this problem alone, but that's where the power of collaboration comes in, like what we learned in the under the Millennium Fellowship during our sessions. It's very important to collaborate. Like there's power if we do things in numbers. You understand each other, then you help each other. So you do a small step in your corner, one does his own step in his corner. Like at the end, we know that the ocean is made up of drops. So those whole drops or those small works will help us to achieve our overall goal. So some of the important things I think we should carefully look at is recycle products. When you buy something, try to recycle it. And if you see like something which has been recycled, like you know the value or the cause behind that, like support the act by buying the recycled products or reusable products, because it will help us to go a long way in achieving our goal. And invest in educating the public about proper waste management. And for me, this is the biggest problem we have, because people seem to not have enough knowledge as to how we should like go around our waste, especially the plastic waste, because that's the most common form of waste in Ghana. Plastic sachets and bottles, you see them everywhere in the gutters, on the beach, like you see them everywhere. And if you ask someone who throws a paper down, why are you doing that? It's just, the person will just say, what have I done to you? What harm will it do to you? And like that answer is heartbreaking, because it just shows the person doesn't have an idea of the effect of such such a move. Or so we should try to like educate people, try to make sure that your neighbor is aware of how his or her actions will affect our environment and the well-being of someone next to, in as far as waste management is concerned. Then avoid buying excess packaging. So like I said before, like if I go to one of our cafeterias, like in Ghana, the vendors, they just give you plastics. If you know that you don't need the plastics, please don't take it. Don't take the plastic because you don't need it. You are just adding to the problem we are having. And sometimes you'll be one of the people who are saying, I care about the environment. Let's protect our environment. Let's protect the ocean. You go and do a beach cleanup. You come back to your room and you buy plate and plate plastics just to fill the bin. You don't even know how those bins are going to be emptied. Perhaps they are the people who are going to like dump it in the ocean. So it's just like a cycle of you going to remove the waste from the oceans and you put it again. So like the work will not get us anywhere. So we should be very careful of how we manage our waste, where we put our waste. Let's try to put the waste in bins. Let's buy the dust bins, and let's try to encourage people around us to follow the proper lines of or proper actions of managing waste. And I'll end the content by this inspiring quote from Evo Morales, which says, sooner or later, we have to realize that the earth has rights too, the right to live without pollution. And what we mankind do not know is that we cannot live without Mother Earth. At least for now, no scientific breakthrough has made us to go and live in Mars for like a year. We need the Earth. But what we don't know is the planet can live without us, and it will be even more beautiful if there were no humans on the planet. But we need the planet, so let's try to value what this huge gift of the Mother Earth and the oceans, because they are very vital for our well-being. Thank you. So if anyone of you have a question as to what we've just said, you are free to ask. No question?
Well, this is Sam. Hi,
Sam.
Denver and Lloyd. A question I would have for you both is, you know, if you're successful, what change do you hope, what concrete change do you want to see in your community? But then also looking forward, let's say 3, 5, 10 years, what are there certain policies that you want to see change within your community locally or nationally? Are there things that you're hopeful that your work may inspire in elected officials, policymakers, larger organizations?
As for me personally, I would appreciate it if we have like the whole majority get a greater education or a good understanding of the effects of pollution and how we should handle that. And I would like those small plastic bags to be banned, because I draw inspiration from Rwanda. Like people are educated. We see a lot of YouTube videos as to how they should keep their cities clean, and why is it important they do collaborations in cleaning the whole place. And they ban plastics, and the result is just amazing, just fantastic. So if we could ban the small plastic bags, because I don't really think they are that necessary. If Rwanda is able to manage without those plastic bags, that would be a great achievement. And then, like, bigger part, education. People should know what to do with waste, how we should manage our waste. Like, we should be very careful with that.
All right. I would also add that I would want to see maybe the government to prepare, maybe to have like a set aside some waste management organization. Like here in Ghana, yeah, that their waste management are there, but I think the one that are working very well are maybe the private one, whereby you need to pay them. Let's say you want them to collect the waste. So I would urge the government to have like a waste management whereby the waste is collected maybe frequently, and also maybe to have like a day where they call it maybe an environmental day, whereby maybe they call for every citizen to do the cleanup around the cities. So these are some of the things that I think maybe will help us to solve some of these problems. And also maybe, as you were saying, that we can ban plastics bags. So it means if you ban plastic bags, we need an alternative way of maybe packaging our maybe our goods. So maybe they can have maybe introduce some sort of a challenge, or I don't know, some sort of like, so that people can bring up innovative ideas of finding ways of making some packages which are not made from plastic PVC, so that are biodegradable and environmental friendly. Yes.
Hello.
Hello, Munya.
My question is to kind of follow up on what Noah said. First of all, I want to really commend you guys. You are doing great. It's a lot of work that is going into the processing and everything that you are doing, the planning, and also the management. My question is about the statistic that you mentioned concerning around 70% of waste in the sea being contributed by industries. I would like to kindly ask if in your plan you have something to also help kind of educate some companies or maybe industrial areas in Ghana, or if not, then companies like recycling companies, maybe giving them some kind of an outline of how the Ghanaian plastic situation is in terms of the areas where it's most concentrated, and they don't pay particular attention to those areas. I would like to ask if you are doing something along those lines, or if you are planning to actually do something related to that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question, because we also have to put these industries into account, because the problem is some of these industries, they know that we shouldn't do this, but then the problem is the ethical side of us, the ethics, the work ethics, and that's where the majority of the problem comes. But yeah, I think we'll look at it how we can also try to engage those companies or the big agencies, like they say, stand on the shoulder of giants. Engage those big environmental agencies so that they can help us to deal with those bigger companies, because I think alone, just us, it will be a very big task to approach those kind of companies alone. That's a very good point you brought up, and thank you for that.
All questions.
So I have one more question. When it comes to African transformers, you've been on a great journey and getting to see the impact, and it's incredible. The fact that you were able to inspire change in the beach cleanup and have people start setting up a commitment to clean up the beach every Saturday speaks to the need, but also the change that you're making in the community. So with that, I think my question is, where do you see African transformers a few years from now, maybe 5 years from now? Do you have any aspiration? And you've talked to us about your vision, but where do you see the project going towards in the future?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yes, African transformers, with the approach that we're doing, we're hoping that in 5 years' time, we're going to create maybe an environment whereby we're not whereby we'll be only focusing maybe in reducing the waste in the oceans, but not that we want to reduce the plastic that have been. So I'm just trying to say that I want to have an environment whereby everyone, every citizen, is aware of their actions. We are not afraid of what is going to happen. Everyone is knowing what their actions is doing. Everyone is taking care of our environment. So we'll only maybe focusing on the reducing boats. Already we have like some plastic waste already in the oceans. We'll be focusing on that, but we also know that we're also safe, that everyone knows about their actions and they know how to avoid throwing away their waste recklessly. And also, as a project, we're just hoping that we're thinking of some ideas that we are not doing right now. We're just hoping that we are going to have a sustainable project whereby we are going to recycle plastics using like big machines, maybe by okay, let's see. Okay, sorry, can you hear something?
So, and I think also depending on where we would be. So definitely for me, I think if we end up in being in Zimbabwe, I would like to continue with the project there. Although Zimbabwe is not is a landlocked country, but then still dealing with the issue of pollution. It also falls under the SDGs. But like what we learned under the sessions, where one of the questions there was a question where there was a story of a guy who set up an agricultural scheme, and then he went back to his country and never followed up on what was happening. Then the whole system collapsed. So before we even started the semester, we actually thought of about it, but then it was kind of too late. We wanted to set up it as a campus club where we'll get more people and set up a structure which is a solid or a strong team members who are willing to like carry on the project even if after we leave Ashesi. For example, this Awote group, it was started, the alumni was a student when he started it, like it was in second year, but up to now, the project is still ongoing and it's lively on campus, and I think would also, follow his footsteps of knowing the right people which you can work with, doing follow-ups and planning together on how we should like keep the project going in the future.
Great, thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello.
The question that was just asked, that's brought me to my second question. But this question is mostly directed to the MCN community. I would like to ask. I know it's a lot of work to really be in collaboration with students like this who are really doing well in spreading social impact. I would like to ask if there are possibilities that projects like this under the MCN community, if they can be collaborated with other international organizations, maybe that are doing something big, something that is like an impact at a larger scale. If there are possibilities that the African Transformers can be actively engaged or linked to this organization, so that they really work on their scaling abilities and something related to making sure that their model is not such a model that after maybe this year wouldn't have something like African Transformers existing. I mean, what are some of the measures that, or is it possible that there can be those connections? Thank you.
So I think, hi, Minnie. I think the question, if I understood that, is are there opportunities for collaboration or for linking prize winners like African Transformers with partners or people that are in the sector that are doing something similar in order to help them scale?
Yes, yeah. That's my question, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's part of, by providing mentorship and trying to form connections is one of the things that we're trying to help as MCN. It's, if there is an organization, and you're part of the team, so I think if there's an organization where, as African Transformers, you think that there might be a possibility of, you know, a good collaboration there, or you could get advice and mentorship from them, or you'd like to connect to learn more about the work that they're doing and kind of pitch what you're doing as well, and see if there's a partnership or a collaboration or an opportunity that could exist between your project and their organization. We've done that in the past with our Ocean Prize winners, and I think it's something that we can also explore with African Transformers, and try to do to as much as we can, or to the best of our abilities and to the connections that we have. So yeah.
All right, thank you.
And I'm going to put in the chat two organizations that might potentially be helpful. One is Oceanic Global. And Oceanic Global does activations, awareness building campaigns, and events around the world for the oceans. And then another one is the Sustainable Ocean Alliance. Sustainable Ocean Alliance is an accelerator. So, you apply with your venture, your idea, and then it's an accelerator to help further scale it. So those are two organizations that might be potential collaborators. And obviously we can talk in the coming months and see if there are more, obviously in addition to Remmer Family Foundation and MCN, if there are more stakeholders and players that could potentially link up.
Awesome. Yeah, and I see someone, Judith, you have a question. If you'd like to unmute yourself, maybe introduce yourself and ask.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Judith, and I was just wondering to Lloyd and Denver about the question that was asked about. Sam asked a question about what you guys think should be done. And then you mentioned something about maybe the government implementing something like banning of plastic waste and all those things. I don't know, have you guys maybe thought of us doing something at Ashesi? Well, I mean, we don't have an idea yet on what we could use to replace plastics, but then to just say, everyone on campus, just carry a plastic bag from your room when you're going to the cafeterias. You don't need to accept a plastic bag. That is not necessary. Just to raise awareness on campus as well. In as much as we have really worked with the community in Beokuso, maybe we could also do something here on Ashesi, have something posted maybe on Instagram by the student council. Just, who knows, it could start from Ashesi, then other universities could also join in.
Thanks, Judith. Thank you for the idea. We're not thinking about that, but I think we have the same idea as what you just introduced. We're thinking that, we have cafeterias whereby students, they buy food and they buy in packs, right? And you know that usually people, they buy food and they throw away packs, because those packs are very cheap. So those are plastic packs. So every time, so we're thinking that we can do a partnership with we're thinking that we can make a partnership with the cafeterias, whereby we are going to introduce to students that they can store their packs. So when they buy food, they wash it, they store it. So we're going to say, maybe if a student give us maybe around 8 packs, and go back and give it back to the cafeteria. So that is one of the initiative that we're thinking. Like, I think it is more in line with the idea that you have just introduced. Thank you very much.
And I think we should go and talk to Dean Abdul about that, because it would be a great move if we manage to pull it through. So put that on our to-do list, like we'll go and have a chat with Tin Abdul to see about all the possibilities of that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so if there are no more questions, we have some few questions. I think people have already started helping us. We have some few questions that you want you to help us. Yes, yes. Okay, my screen is not changing. Okay, let's go.
So the first one was for feedback. How can we improve? And you guys have already given us some of that, and you can also add some. Then the other one is, apart from the activities we are doing, what else should we do so that we can achieve our goals? Then another problem, another big challenge we have been facing, how best can we engage people on this pressing issue? Then what action is being done in your respective communities so to combat this problem, so that you can also draw some inspiration and take some ideas from that. So you can just choose any question from the list and we keep the discussion going.
Hello. So I would like to tackle maybe the first question that says, how can you improve your work? First of all, what you're already doing is amazing. I mean, it's a lot of work that you guys are really doing, as well as what the MCN community is putting into you. But I think what can help you also to improve your work is to really have detailed plans of what African transformers should be in the next coming 4 months, 5 months, maybe 6 months. I mean, even big people like Bill Gates and all those people who own like one of the world's most influential businesses, they had plans of or projections of what their business would look like in the coming years. The same should also be done for social enterprises, I believe. So this may be just maybe like a follow-up of the question that was once asked to you, like, how do you see African Transformers 5 years from now? So I believe if then there's like a breakdown of what you actually want to do, those goals being broken down within the period of 5 years, and having timelines for them, and try to reporting back each and every time that you have meetings as an organization would really help. Because if you come to think of it, most of the things that really contribute to organizations failing is lack of proper planning. Like business just do things sometimes not really conscious of how they are going to be done timeline wise. So I think that would be one of the things that would really help you to improve, and as well as engaging more university students, because like they are the ones that are really receiving the education in these institutions. So the more you involve them, the more that they go into our world after graduation, the more they spread the news to the world. So like maybe two things that are just maybe plans and also engaging more university students as well as lecturers, so that when they go outside the world, they know that there's something that should be done to help improve the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Munya, for the feedback. We'll consider it.
I'm going to share something in relation to the last question, which is what actions is being done in your communities to combat this problem. As you were talking about your presentation and talking about how cheap plastic is, I was thinking about how we recently here in Boston, a policy was implemented to charge anyone that goes to a grocery store 5 cents for a bag. And it's nothing, but it definitely is a way to make you think twice about whether you want to buy this plastic bag or not. I think in the past, in another state in the US, or in maybe also here in Boston, you could take 4 or 5 bags for your groceries, and you don't really need all these bags, but double protection and to make sure you have enough, and maybe end up using them as a trash bag. But we use them a lot, and now it's more limited just by a simple policy to add a 5 cent to buying this plastic bag. And so I think long term, and maybe that goes back to Sam's earlier question about policy, it helps change people's behavior in a big scale. And so I think that's something that has happened here in our community that's trying to combat this problem. And it seems to be working, at least from how I see myself as a citizen, or myself as someone that goes out and purchases plastic, and how my behavior has changed from the past to now. And so, this is just one way. So, you're welcome to take this as an inspiration, but I think, thinking about policies and trying to connect with people that have the power to change a community. And maybe this community doesn't have to be your country. Maybe it's reducing plastic in your own university. Think you talked about your cafeteria. So how many events are happening on HS University where you're using plastic cups and bags and styrofoams and things around the campus? And could you meet with the dean of students and the president and try to set up some way of reducing the usage of the plastics on your community? That would be an achievement. And then you've changed the minds of thousands of students in the university, and they go out to the world and carry that mindset to the communities that they end up living in. So, think about who your community is, who your target audience is, and how you can help them and empower them to empower others. And so, you can reach those connections. They're not very far from you, and that could be something that you could think about long term. Is maybe change can start within our university as well.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you very much for that. We greatly appreciate it and to look into that. Thank you very much.
Great, awesome. Well, we have about 3 minutes, so I want to take this time to thank you so much. And if anyone has any other thoughts, final comments, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and share with us. But I think on behalf of MCN, we're so happy with the work that you're doing and the change that you're putting in your communities. And we can't wait to see what you're going to be doing in the next few months as well. And this is the first to hopefully 2 more webinars, and so we'll see more updates from you soon. But I think this is really important work that you're doing in the community, and sometimes overlooked. SDG 14 and trying to combat ocean waste and plastic waste in the oceans does not get the attention that it deserves. As you shared with those shocking statistics, it's something that's very, very important, and something that we need to be more mindful and take immediate action to, if we really want to see a change and want to save our Mother Earth. So thank you for the work that you're doing, and we're very appreciative and just can't wait to see what you do more.
Oh, thank you very much. We really appreciate. We thank you for your continuous support that you're giving us. We really appreciate.
And I think thanks to everyone who joined us on this webinar and your contributions. Like it's really important for us, for you to give us your attention and your time as we work together to achieve our overall goal. Thank you once again for that.
Fantastic. Yes. Thank you all for those who attended the webinar, and thank you again to Denver and Lloyd, and hopefully we'll see you again in a few months.
Sure.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.